Hello guys, I'm Nicolas and welcome back to the DC film review / retrospective. And today what we're going to be reviewing is Superman 2. After the success of the first Superman movie, a sequel was quickly put into production, and with the director of the first movie, Richard Donner, was supposed to be shooting both films back to back. But unfortunately, Richard Lester took the director's chair and decided to shoot Superman 2. With, of course, Richard Donner coming back to the director's chair. So if there was any problems, then Richard Donner will have to talk to Richard Lester for any problems with the film, but production went smoothly. But due to production problems, the studio's producers were furious about making the fight scenes being perfect for the sequel. But unfortunately, Warner Bros. Suggested that they had to stop working on Superman 2 and finish the first movie first. The producers come up with a new idea for the sequel for Superman 2. It was decided for Richard Donner and some of his friends that he had worked for the first Superman movie not to return due to creative differences. So then Warner Brothers had to find another director right away, so they come up with Richard Lester, in which he's known for directing films such as the Three Musketeer films. Some of the scenes for Superman 2 had to be reshot, like the opening sequence, and Lois finding out that Clark Kent was Superman. And the film got out in 1980, and it was critically successful and made much money at the box office. So without out of the way, let's get into the plot. So basically the movie takes place after the events of the first Superman movie, where Superman is still helping people by fighting crime and solving crimes, and meanwhile Clark Kent, his persona, goes to the Daily Planet and to see his boss Perry White, where he learns that Lois is in France, where a group of terrorists have seized the Eiffel Tower and threaten to level the city by releasing a hydrogen bomb. Lois later goes past the police barricade and later goes into the elevator of the Eiffel Tower, risking her own life. But then the terrorists releases the victims, and later then a unit terrorist decided to detonate the bomb by disabling the elevator, in which it plunged to Lois's death. But that wasn't until when Superman arrives to save the day and to stop the terrorists. Meanwhile, in outer space, Zod and his crew, Zon and Ursa, escape from the Phantom Zone and goes to the moon. As the astronauts are in the moon at their space mission, later they encounter Zod and his crew, and later Zod, Non, and Ursa attack the astronauts, and then they go into Earth, where they experience their powers for the first time. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Lex Luthor attempts to escape prison, and so he did with his partner Otis, and basically is trying to find a way to get revenge on Superman. Meanwhile, Clark and Lois were assigned from the Daily Planet to go to do a story on a honey racket in Niagara Falls. Story about what Perry White calls a honey racket in Niagara Falls. Anyways, after that, kids jump off the edge of the river, and later after that, Superman saves him from falling into his death, basically. When Clark later takes off his glasses, Lois then figures out that Clark Kent is Superman, and later tries to assume it by trying to by trying to fall into a river, falling to her death, and Clark later then saves her without her seeing one of his laser eyes coming. And well, later after that he confesses and later finds out and later says that he's Superman. And after that, they went to the Fortress of Solitude, and that's where he saw the site, and that's where that they both started to date. Their relationship later gets close. So then Superman decides to take away his godlike powers so he can be with Lois forever. And basically he does, but at a terrible cost. He gets punched in the face by some guy at the diner. Meanwhile, Zod goes to the White House and threatens the president, and later after that, he asks for Superman. The president asks for Superman to help him to stop General Zod from taking over the White House. Later on, Lex Luthor gets into the White House and later teams up with General Zod, Non, and Ursa to take over Metropolis and to defeat Superman. Later after that, General Zod, Ursa, and Nun attacks Metropolis, but that isn't until when Superman arrives in the scene and somehow got his powers back, although it's never been explained why. But it was explained in the Richard Donner cut, I think. I don't know. But anyways, Superman and General Zod have a fight, but then unfortunately General Zod captures Lois Lane and decides to betray Luthor. And then later General Zod and his gang, and including Lex Luthor, goes to the Fortress of Solitude, and later Superman stops them. And fortunately, of course, when Superman had no choice but to be taking away his powers, but unfortunately, plot twist, he actually took away General Zod and his gang's powers, and later gets to beat them and is now fully strong again. And later he gets to lead the Fortress of Solitude with Lois Lane, and later both Lois and Clark were talking one day, and basically after that, Superman, Clark Kent decided to erase Lois's memories about remembering the events of Superman 2 by simply kissing her. It's a very cheesy scene, but then again, it's good. And later we get to see Superman flying off of space as he smiles to the camera as credits roll. For the positives, I really like how the story goes. The story is really good, even though it does have some plot holes, but overall the story's been really good, and I really like how Christopher Reeve and Margaret Kidder reprising their roles for the second time. I really like how the roles did very well in this movie, and they did a really great job so far. Richard Lester's work was really good overall, and not as perfect as Richard Donner, but good though. And even though Richard Donner has left the project due to not bring back the producer that worked on Superman the movie, and the writer even quitting as well along with him and decided to work on other projects. Yeah. But anyways, the flying scenes, again, they were really amazing. They were good as the first one, basically. I really like how they did a very great job, although that there are some that were really off, but we'll get there later to the negatives. And I really like the scene where Lois is very ashamed that they can't be together, and this scene was very emotional, and you do feel sorry for these characters that they cannot be together.
I didn't close my eyes all night.
Look, Lois.
I understand. I sat up all night listening to the voices of reason. Do you know how vile it is to hear the first bird of the morning singing when you've been sitting up all night crying?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, too. I guess it's sort of like being married to a doctor, you know? The doctor gets waking in the middle of the night, and then the wife has to cope with the fact that he's gone. I guess I'm just too selfish.
No, you're not selfish at all.
Yes, I am selfish when it comes to you. I am selfish. And I'm jealous of the whole world. Now, I'm gonna be fine. You don't have to worry about me.
I like worrying about you.
Would you stop? Don't you know that this is killing me? Do you know what it's like to have you come in here every morning and not be able to talk to you? Not be able to show I have any feelings for you? Not be able to tell anyone that I know who you are? I don't even know what to call you.
Lois, I don't know what to say.
Well, then, no, just say that you love me.
Yeah, that was a bit of a cheesy part, but then again, it's so good and it's very emotional, and I do feel sorry for these characters. I really felt sorry for these characters. Gene Hackman does a really great job on playing Lex Luthor as he did in the first film, and I really like his comedic moments style and bit. Well, I really like how he played Lex Luthor in his serious style, and Christopher Reeves, like always, he does a really great job on taking the role of Superman very seriously. And the actor who played General Zod, he does a really great job. And even the crew like Ursa and Nun, they did a really great job on playing their characters and really did a really great job on taking the role very seriously. And overall this film was really amazing, and the story overall was really amazing. But there are some bad things about the story, such as for the negatives, there are some plot holes in the film, like such as how did Superman get his powers back, even though that they said that taking away his powers would be permanent and he wouldn't get his powers back. How did he get them back? Well, I think it was explained in the Richard Donner Superman 2 cut, and plus with some of the some plus with let's see, plus with Lex Luthor, I think that they could have done like something important with the character in the role, but still, his character's still good. Um, and plus, uh, I really wish that they could have done much better. And with the soundtrack, well, it's good, but not that bad. But I really wish that they could have gotten John Williams back, um, since John Williams, I think he wasn't available at the time. But anyways, like I was saying, there were plot holes in the film. The plot holes were just basically bad, and some of the flying effects scenes do look really bland. The blue screen opticals, they were really bland, and just just playing out old bad. And wish that they could have done much more better on the blue screen opticals. And plot holes like, let's see, how does Superman get his powers back? That's all I can think of. It was explained in the Richard Donner cut, and plus 70% of the Richard Donner cut was filmed percent. So if you want to check that out, go check it out right now. For those of you who have not seen the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. Overall, Superman 2 is really good in my opinion. Overall, the story was just very well. I really liked the beginning. I really liked the beginning, and I really like how we felt sorry for these characters, which put very emotion that we have not seen in the comic book / superhero movie before. That you do felt sorry for Lois and Clark, that they cannot be together, and Gene Hackman's performance that is really good, and the actors who played General Zod, Ursa, and Nun did very well in this film. And like how Christopher Reeve and Margaret Kidder reprised their roles again, especially Gene Hackman, and really like how I really like how this movie ended in a very nice way, and I really like how this and I really like the special effects. The special effects are really good. The flying scenes, they're really amazing as the first movie. And, well, there were some bad parts about the blue screen opticals, which they were really bad, and, just like, not like that. But overall, it has great storytelling. It does have some plot holes, and Richard Lasser does a really great job on directing the film, and does take this movie very seriously, like Richard Donner did when he directed Superman the movie. Well, yeah, I mean, Richard Donner did direct Superman 2, but unfortunately he left due to not directing the film. So if you guys do not like the plot holes in Superman 2, then you know what? Go watch the director's cut version of Superman. The director's cut version is really amazing. This is very fun to watch. Overall, both the theatrical cut and the Richard Donner cut are both good. And Superman 2 is just a really fun sequel, and it's just a fun sequel having a fun time, and with nice characters, nice villain, a great story. Great story, great special effects, even though that there are some flaws on the blue screen opticals and there are some plot holes in the film. And great performances from actors like Margaret Kidder, Gene Hackman, and others. I give Superman 2 5 stars and a thumbs up. And that's my review for Superman 2. What you guys think about Superman 2? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. So, thank you guys for watching, although this is not the last DC film, because we're gonna be in the next DC film now, since we're going to be doing some more DC film review / retrospective coming out real soon. So yes, guys, so expect more coming out soon.